Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest cryptocurrency channel on all the interwebs. My name is TJ, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Around the Blockchain. Every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we come to you live with some of the top crypto personalities from around the interwebs to help you learn about crypto and how to make money with crypto assets. If you like money in crypto, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, we've got links to the descriptions of all the guests links to all the guest channels in the description, so be sure to go give them a like and a follow. We've got a really good roundup today. Should be a lot of fun. We've got CryptoWendyO, the chart master himself, CryptoFace, creator of Market Cipher. We've got Austin, top mind from Altcoin Daily, joining us today. And as always, Ben Armstrong bringing down the house. We've got a lot of really good topics to discuss. We're going to be looking at a car that supposedly mines Bitcoin and some other crypto assets. We've got more drama going on with Dogecoin, AMC. We're going to look at some of the top villains in the crypto space, as well as we're doing a quick market watch. We're going to jump into the market, see what else is going on, and have a really good discussion here today. As always, if you see in the bottom right-hand corner of every one of the guests, there's a score box there. If you like what you're hearing from any of the guests, make sure to drop a +1 in the chat. I'll know to give them a point. Whoever has the most points at the end of the episode will have 30 seconds to leave a parting message with the thoughts. So let us know who you like. If you have any questions for any of these guests, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll do our best to work it in, or super chat it. We'll try to call those out. But as always, let's get going with the markets. We've got a lot of drama today. We've got Dogecoin with a huge pump, getting off the coin we talked about yesterday, off the Coinbase Pro listing. But also AMC had a 98% pump today, and the stock market is locking up the trading. So real quick, I'll start with you, Wendy. Is there anything price-wise or chart action that's catching your attention today? Do you think we're starting to break out of this sideways action? I know it feels like we've been stuck here forever, but just real quick, we'll start with you. What is it you're seeing on the charts right now?
We're still in my vibe and consolidate range. That's from about 33,000 to about 38,000. So once we can get above that, then hopefully we can eventually test 42,000, because that's where the EMA 200 lies. But I'm not going to get excited till we actually get up there and retest 42,000. But one thing I will say is Ethereum. If you look at the Ethereum chart versus the Bitcoin chart, Ethereum is actually above the EMA 200 on the daily, while Bitcoin is below the EMA 200 on the daily. So you might have a better opportunity with Ethereum.
We did notice that this morning. Ben actually opened along on today's live stream, and then we were in the car on the way back to the gym like, why are we messing with Ethereum? How are we back in this position again? But CryptoFace, are you looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum right now? Are you long or short? Do you have any trades open? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I just actually got back yesterday from vacation, and couldn't help but to hop in an ETH trade. In fact, for the past 2 months, I've been trading probably Ethereum to Bitcoin $4 to 1. So every $4 I have an Ethereum trade, $1 I have the Bitcoin. Normally it's vice versa, like every $20 I have Bitcoin, 1 in ETH. But both are moving up and down together. But not at the same rate. On a larger picture, as far as like the daily, Ethereum has had a much stronger money flow in the asset pair, much better than Bitcoin. On the daily, Bitcoin's just been like a slow fall down, but ETH has actually been chilling. So there's a couple things that we're actually going to talk about today that kind of makes sense. So yeah, I've been trading ETH and Bitcoin for the past 2 months. I'm still long right now. I closed half my trades. I hope the shit didn't dump, because I haven't looked at it in about an hour and a half. But yeah, so we're good to go, man. Kicking butt.
Awesome. And real quick, I know this might be the biggest challenge of the whole show for you, Face, but we're going to try to keep the language in check best we can. Try to keep it family friendly. So just something to keep in mind.
Already?
You might have, but we'll let it go. Ben, what did you looking? How's that ETH trade looking right now? You up? You down? Feeling confident?
Not great. It's not looking great. We knew when we put it in, we were looking at the prices, and it looked like it was breaking out a little bit there. But obviously, what controls the price of Ethereum to some extent is the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has dropped from 38,000 to right now 37,782. I think just a second ago it was 37.3. Maybe it just got a bounce, or maybe I hadn't refreshed it, so I don't know which one that was. But either way, as long as Bitcoin's not reclaiming 38,000, then Ethereum is probably not going to have some kind of mega breakout. I mean, I don't see Ethereum at $4,000 again when Bitcoin can't get above 42. But I think ETH is prime, so if Bitcoin does start to run, that it is going to, be pretty favorable. I've been saying this like pretty vocal. Like, I believe Ethereum will flip Bitcoin during the cycle by the end of it. Not sustained, but I do believe that it will. We'll have video out on that on Friday. But because of that, I think that, we have to watch Bitcoin very closely, because as soon as it gets some kind of momentum, then we will see things go up for Ethereum. As soon as Bitcoin stabilizes and moves up, Ethereum's going to explode.
Awesome. And then Austin, what is it you're looking at outside of the obvious with the Dogecoin pump and Binance recovering a little bit? Is there any top coins pumping today that have your attention? And just real quick, it's not BJ, Frank, who's running the board. If you could kill that music, that would help. Thank you. Turn it down.
Great question. I would say, because I'm not so much a trader like CryptoFace and CryptoWendy, so I can say pretty confidently that I have no clue what the price is going to do in the short term. Because on our channel, I think people subscribe to Altcoin Daily for more of the fundamental analysis. But for me, I think specifically with ETH looking a little more bullish than Bitcoin, I think a lot of people are excited for Ethereum Improvement Proposal 1559 coming mid-January, potentially making ETH deflationary if a lot of X is on the network. So for me, I'm more of in a holding pattern, slow accumulation, and I think it's really a fight between the bulls and the now for Bitcoin, because the on-chain fundamental analysis says Bitcoin is undervalued. Of course, we are under the 200-day moving average, so maybe we have more of a downside to go in the short term. We'll see. Exciting times.
Yeah, it does seem like we've been going sideways. I think it's about 2 weeks now, but it feels like an eternity for all of us who look at this every single day. But shifting gears a little bit, the big story of the day, a major AMC pump and a major Dogecoin pump. Now, last time we saw a big Robinhood-centric type property pump, and then there was no liquidity. Basically, Robinhood locked up the Dogecoin trades. People couldn't get into it. We saw Ethereum Classic pump. We saw other things that were listed on Robinhood pump. So my question is, with this big AMC pump today, a lot of people in profit with new money in their hand, and they can't trade it, they can't sell out of it because it's been frozen. Do you think that will lead to a further Doge pump, maybe more Ethereum Classic action? We'll start with Ben on that one. What do you think?
I wish people would just stop trading that crap. Like, just come over to crypto. Come over to crypto. You can trade 24/7. You own your own stuff. Like, I see all these YouTubers that are talking about AMC all the time, and they're just so excited about this. I'm like, you're excited about a dinosaur. You're excited about a market that is constantly working against you. And every organization involved is trying to basically steal your trading data in order to make the hedge funds more money. And yeah, we got institutional problems in crypto also, but not nearly to the scale that we have on those platforms. So, the thing is like, do they really have new money in their hand if they can't trade out of it? Like, by the time they actually get the new money in their hands, if they were to sell it and withdraw it and then move it over to crypto, they're going to have already missed the biggest gains. That's why that whole thing is rigged. Look, guys, I want you all to think about this. Like, I want you to wrap your mind around. There are times in my life where I literally can't wrap my mind around how things are still being done like this. Okay. The fact that in my HOA for my neighborhood, they have to physically mail me a key to get into the pool. I had to physically mail them a check. Like, it's 2021, am I right? Okay. The stock market, it literally has physical circuit breakers that get pulled when stuff gets crazy. Think that's insane. Okay. The whole market is outdated. And so I don't like to see the excitement over these dying stocks over there that people are just using as manipulative, play toys. Let's get people over actually to crypto. So if you want to get in Doge, come on over to Coinbase when it launches over there and get off these old dinosaur, type trading tools.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like pretend crypto or play crypto, but like the real markets never trade. It, like you said, you hold it yourself. Never close. They're constantly trading. So we saw the CEO Vlad Tenev get a lot of heat back in January when Robinhood shut this stuff down. He was quick to come out and say this wasn't them this time. This was the New York Stock Exchange. We, I know how you blasted Scott Minerd on today's live stream. Like, we're not big fans of the Guggenheim and some of them. So we see, I think it's pretty clear at this point. We've been talking about it on the show for the last week or two. We see a lot of manipulation across the markets. We see it from the Fed. We see it from big hedge funds. We see it from big billionaires throwing their influence around. So I want to kind of hear from you guys. Who do you think some of the top villains of in crypto are? Like, who do you think is doing the most to hold us back and hurt us with this manipulation? Do you think it's the Fed? Do you think it's people like Scott Minerd or maybe Robinhood and some of the hedge funds that own Robinhood? I don't know if it was a capital group that owns them, at Citadel or something along those lines. So we'll start with you, Austin. Which people or entities do you think are some of the biggest villains in crypto?
Well, I want to preface by saying Vlad and Robinhood and also the Fed, I would say that those entities, those people are probably some of the biggest heroes in cryptocurrency because they give a big PR press release to the world why Bitcoin, why DAOs and Ethereum are needed in this world. Every single time they pump up that price, every single time, Vlad blames it on the New York Stock Exchange or, shuts down Robinhood that favors the big players instead of the people. That's more and more people coming over to cryptocurrency because they see the decentralized potential there. Who is the biggest villain? I would say it is the people that are, for better or for the worse, the ones stifling innovation. For example, Biden with his new tax plan, all that's going to do is drive people out of the United States. The world is getting smaller, not bigger. People have options now. So I would say the people that are stifling innovation, whether or not they feel it's to protect the individual.
Great take. And then Wendy, speaking of stifled innovation, I know you're out in California where we're seeing businesses leave in droves and things like that. Is that something you would agree with, that the regulation and the framework for this stuff in the future is something that's really important to continue growing cryptocurrency or crypto assets?
I was actually going to say the biggest threat to cryptocurrency are governments. And the reason why is they give gray areas when it comes to cryptocurrency and when it comes to Bitcoin. We don't really know how to pay our taxes. We can no longer go into an H&R Block and have them do our crypto taxes for us. H&R Block said, nope, we're not going to do it. So when we have big entities like this that are stifling innovation, that are not giving us clear guidelines of how to pay our taxes, how do we start a crypto company, just different aspects of that causes problems. And the same people that are doing it, I actually read a very interesting tweet. This gentleman, John told tweeted it. He said, just a reminder that Janet Yellen his net worth is worth $16 million, 132 times the median U.S. household. 7 million of her fortune, 44%, was earned in the last 3 years, speaking before Wall Street banks and hedge funds. So remember the next time she virtual signals about wealth inequality. People like that. I don't mind the hustle to get paid for speaking, but I mind when you are stifling our innovation and when you're trying to make it seem that you're helping and protecting the people when you're really not. And it doesn't quite sit right with me.
Yeah, no, they're helping themselves, really. It's people that help themselves under the guise of helping other people, and it doesn't sit right with us either. But CryptoFace, as a trader, are you in this for the long term? Are you invested in this? Do you care if there's villains? Are you one of the villains that's just, are you out in May or are you here for the long haul?
Oh, Burn City.
They put me in the hot seat, man. No, it's all kind of relative, and there's levels to it. Some people would say like the OG, Bitcoin developers would say someone like Dr. Wright would be an enemy. Mm-hmm. To me, I think two things really stick out. That's different from what others have already said. Number one is actual scammers. I was watching Joe Rogan the other day, and he had the Marine Jocko Willink on. And I think that's his name, if I pronounce correctly. And he said he's met the best people he's ever met in his life was in the Marine Corps, and the worst people he's ever met in his life was in the Marine Corps. And I feel the same way. I think that we have the brightest and most beautiful and pure people in crypto, and we have the most evil scum. And I really mean it. I mean, just long story short, one time I was getting blackmailed, and it turned out that these guys were a part of a group doing the most terrible things, like the worst things, the most evil things you could do. So number one, the scammers, you don't have to look forward to find them. Go to every comment section, you know what I'm saying? You see them. So number one villains are those people, the scum and the scammy. And then number two, I am my own worst enemy. I think when it comes to crypto, I think in my experience, and I think, you know, as far as like trading, I can certainly say that I have to master myself and to master thy enemy. And you have to check yourself constantly and have discipline. So scum and scammers, I'm doing good without cursing so far,
No,
right?
you're doing great, man.
Yeah,
You're doing awesome.
job.
I'm impressed.
Proud of you.
You're really
So
filtering.
evil scammers, and then my own self making mistakes.
Yeah, no, that's good. Human psychology, that's an underrated one that a lot of people may not take into account. But yeah, we can be our own worst enemy a lot of different times. Emotions get involved, and you know, there's a lot when you're learning all this stuff. And then yeah, scammers, people who prey on others who are just trying to learn and better themselves, it really is sickening. So real quick, thanks for the super chat, Matt Sanchez. Said we got 7K viewers right now, only 1,000 likes. Guys, if you like this content, if you like these guests and all the work that they put into providing great crypto content for you guys, please smash those likes. It helps us all get the word and the message of crypto out there for everybody, helps grow all their channels, and that's really what we're trying to do, is just kind of lift the whole space up here. So moving on to a new topic here, we've got a Bitcoin mining car that came out today, and it was actually funny. The headline of the article we read this morning is, it's kind of pointless, but here it is. We've got this car that mines cryptocurrency, I think only when it's parked, a couple different assets. I think they mentioned Bitcoin, Litecoin. I'll actually come right back to you, Face. I know you've done a little bit of mining in the past. Like, what's your thought on a Bitcoin car? Would you drive this? Is this potentially Tesla's plan? Take it away.
Absolute garbage. Now, I understand that, you know, for a long time, people have tried to capture like energy from the cars when they're done driving, put in their garage. But when I think, oh, your car can mine crypto for you, I think about old Digibyte scams that my salon girl used to cut my hair. She was trying to mine Digibyte on her phone. She ended up getting totally scammed. I'm just thinking about a totally another avenue of new apps and new garbage, basically. And, you know, I mean, it opens up kind of like a whole new can of worms. Like, what are you going to do? Have a Windows 98? I think Wendy would love it, because she's like, you know, the poo coin queen. And Wendy's like the ultimate. She does it successfully. I'm not talking smack about her, but if there was someone that could figure it out, I would call Wendy and say, Wendy, you should be in the army with all the paratrooping of like the airdrops of every coin from every corner. I would call Wendy. But yeah, I think that's like actual money from your car and stuff. No, man, that's just like content filler. And it takes a lot. You know, I'm a part of a mining operation. I don't really know much about it, but one thing I do know is there's power in numbers, and if you ain't got numbers, you can't do much with your telephone unless you either A, get super lucky on a new garbage dumpster coin that somehow makes it, and even then your cost, you know, something breaks and it costs you $200 to get the app. It's just a slippery slope, in my opinion. I don't want to take too much time. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mining does end up coming up a lot. Everybody's really interested and excited about it. And then when you really start getting into it, it's so much harder than everybody anticipates. A lot more work, a lot more moving parts, literally and metaphorically. But we'll jump right to Wendy. Is this something you would drive? Is this something you see happening in the future? Is this potentially viable?
So me personally, I like my car. I'm probably not going to get a new car for like the next 20 years because I love the car that I have. I might get a lowrider because I want something older. But I think it's a cool.
What do you have, Wendy?
Yeah,
I've got a mom car.
We got to hear it.
Yeah, Range
I've got a
Rover?
mom car. I'm not gonna say on air what it is. It's a crossover.
A crossover.
Oh,
Classy
crossover.
crossover. There you go.
It's a crossover. It's a mom car. It has a super nice ride. But I think, okay, this is the thing. I think it's a really nice aesthetic. And I also think particularly why this company, I think it was Wayback or Drayback, something like that. I think the reason why they decided to create this car was kind of to slap Elon Musk in the for just being such a complete hot mess. So I think it was a very smart marketing tactic because the whole
Mm-hmm.
crypto community is buzzing about it. When it comes to mining, there's lots of different avenues when it comes to mining, and it's very risky. It can be a little bit expensive, especially when you're getting into spec mining, but if it has the top major cryptocurrencies, and I don't know what mining app that they're going to utilize, but if I feel like it's just a cool aesthetic to have, just my opinion. I don't really see anything wrong with it, just as long as the app that they're using is to not hurt anybody.
So you see this more as marketing than anything else?
It's 100% marketing. We had Elon Musk come out with all of this trash talking about Bitcoin and energy and whatnot. So it was a perfect opportunity for, and I want to say it was a Canadian car maker. It was a perfect opportunity for them to come out and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take that opportunity?
Exactly. No. So Aaron or Austin, do you think this
It's
is?
Austin.
I know it's Austin. I had said it right every time beforehand, but it just says Aaron on the piece of paper, so I have to correct myself. But do you think this is partially part of the long-term play with Elon Musk and Solar City and Starlink and all this stuff he's putting together? Do you think, speaking of being a marketing master, is there a play there for Tesla?
I think that Elon is so volatile. I mean, cryptocurrency is volatile. Elon, whether he's pumping up Tesla stock or pumping down Tesla stock or crypto or Dogecoin or whatever, nobody knows what he's thinking. I think it would be smart if he kind of got into something like this with mining, because green energy is his thing. For this car specifically, do I think it's cool? Do I think it's, in a marketing standpoint that it's, awesome? Hell yes. Am I a buyer, TJ? No. Because, if, I'll pay attention. I think it's very hard to stay profitable mining Bitcoin, as we all know. And then you got to go delve into lower altcoins if you want the profit. And if they create their own altcoin and say, hey, you're collecting this coin every time you park, that would be disinteresting to me because they created their own money. But if this is just a seed, that maybe Ford or Tesla or any car company 10 years from now, we can get some better innovation that really works, and maybe it does come from this car company, that's what interests me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say if this ever does turn anything viable, it is quite a few years down the road. But Ben, I know you've said in the past you would never drive a Tesla. You like gas engine powered cars. Regardless of what you would or wouldn't drive, do you think a technology like this is even viable, or that we will ever see? Because I think a lot of people, when they first start thinking about blockchain and solar cities, and you hear these blockchain cities talked about, and everything's on solar, renewable energy, and everything mines, and everything feeds back into a circular economy, all these different things. Do you see this actually playing out in time, or do you think that's just a pipe dream?
Interestingly enough, I actually do see that playing out over time, like 20 years from now. Like, we are so far away from an actual functional city. It's not even funny. Like, we barely have Ethereum working. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even close to used enough to warrant the kind of congestion it has. So if you imagine an entire city running on Ethereum and the transaction, I wonder what an entire city running on Ethereum would look like transaction-wise compared to the overall Ethereum network right now. I mean, you would think that city alone would have more transactions than the current, like by a long shot. We're talking about microtransactions. And Ethereum wouldn't be viable at this point because of the gas fees for microtransactions itself, unless, you have ETH layer or layer 2 solutions. Maybe that could play a role into it. But I think that eventually this will kind of be the norm, because if you think about an electric car, first of all, they suck. But second of all, if you think about like how much Bitcoin can an electric car actually mine while it's charging, like, you ain't going to make money on it. You know what I mean? But if you had every single device in your house mining, you might actually could make, $20 a day or something like that. Like, I don't know what it actually work out to, but an income that over time, and we're moving towards a new economy where you're going to have more of your life and more of your income coming digitally or from video games or who knows from where. Okay. So, but we're a long ways away from that actually happening. So this is just a marketing play by them at this current time. But I will say there was an interesting story that I was reading about, and then I actually kind of dug into this story, and it's actually George from Cryptos R Us is quoted in this story, basically saying that he believes, and that there are some other people that believe that, Elon Musk's recent meeting with miners, with the North American Bitcoin Council and the miners and all that stuff, that they will announce 100%. I mean, I'm not saying that's 100%, but it says that Elon Musk and Tesla will announce very soon that they are going to be accepting Bitcoin again. That would be crazy. What would that do? That would be nuts.
That would be wild. Well, and then it makes everything look like what they were doing before is like that much more of price manipulation to get better buys.
Speaking of villains,
yeah,
speaking of biggest villains in crypto.
It's getting pretty wild. And speaking of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, that's actually our last topic today. Is Bitcoin's still the number one dog, still dominates inflows. We've seen 4.4 billion flowing into Bitcoin this year compared to only basically almost 1 billion into Ethereum, 973 million. But recently, we've seen that starting to shift a little bit. There's, I think, 27% of assets under management by hedge funds now are Ethereum-based, and we're starting to see the volume on Ethereum tick up, the price on Ethereum, the transactions. Almost every metric on the network is ticking upward and getting closer and closer to Bitcoin. So do you think we're going to start to see, as this year goes on, this bull run goes on, institutions and major players moving more focus to Ethereum than to Bitcoin? And Ben, I'll start with you on this one because I know you've said several times recently you do think Ethereum will flip Bitcoin in this cycle. Do you think this has something to do with the big money shifting their focus?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like on some level, you're always down at the big money. It's going to be playing a big factor. But I think that really the Bitcoin price has got so convoluted by all of these, institutional ways that people can invest. And Ethereum isn't going through that right now. Like Ethereum they are getting a considerable amount of institutional, dollars. Like if you literally just look at the amount, but compared to Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin still, has a lot more. And Bitcoin has a lot more investment vehicles and investment options for these, high dollar institutional players. I think that really what's going to drive Ethereum, is I think Ethereum is where a lot of the retail money is going to go towards the end of the year. Because we all know, right? Like anyone who is an influencer or a person that creates content in crypto that tells you that the average person that makes $35,000 a year is more interested in Bitcoin than Ethereum, they're just lying to you. Like I get asked about Ethereum way more than about Bitcoin. Why? Because people feel like they already missed the boat on Bitcoin. With Ethereum, the prices are still to a point where and look, I understand it doesn't make sense. Like it's really all about the market cap. Like we understand that, but the average person just looks at the dollars, and that's why Dogecoin pumped, because it started at such a low price. Even though the market cap, like you see people talking about a $10 Dogecoin, like we know that's not like. There's not enough money in the world right now to make something like that happen. I mean, there is, but there isn't. So I think for me, the institutional interest is kind of what I think can get this thing kicked off. And it's just giving more credibility to Ethereum, which down the road is, I think, going to lead to that retail blow off top.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we've been talking about these synthetic Bitcoin, and you referenced it there, that all these other ways for institutions to get exposure to Bitcoin without actually holding it themselves. So CryptoFace, do you think some of these other paper products and options are going to allow Ethereum to get, like, kind of, they remove the scarcity issue from Bitcoin a little bit if all these institutions are able to get exposure through a different product every single day?
And so, circling back to the first subject we were talking.
I think you muted yourself, or I just lost you there for a second. Can't hear you.
I think he hit because he's still talking.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
I hope I didn't click the mute button in time. Okay, so let me share do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
No, go for it.
So I can show you, what I was talking about. Okay, boom. Alrighty, entire screen. That's good enough. Okay, can you see okay right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So long story short, this is Bitcoin on the daily, and then this is Ethereum on the daily. So all that we're looking at is this big green wave that comes down into the red. This is a follow the money indicator. It follows the money that is in the asset pair. So with Bitcoin on the daily, technically it's been just a smooth ride, confident ride down, and eventually down here it's gonna break, which it did. And so when I look at ETH, I'm like, well, it's it should be doing the same thing, right? But not nearly as much. There is a much more consistent flow of cash that is still in Ethereum and that is trading it. And I know it to be true because I'm doing it myself. And I trade with a lot of money. And I know the other heavy hitters that I just talked to, they're doing the same thing too. And it's been, I mean, 2-3 months for me that I have been trading Ethereum more than Bitcoin. And now I still use Bitcoin and Ethereum like together again to figure out the direction, but the money's still there. Now, not trying to, as far as like some hope, I look at the 12-hour and the 6-hour with Bitcoin. The 12-hour don't show nothing yet. It's still a lower low on the money flow. But when we start scooting over to the 6 and the 8-hour, there's a little bit of hope there, a little bit of hope. And so, listen, I am not focusing my energy on what's going to happen so long from now. What I am focusing on is right now, there's really good opportunity with still confident like volume where we're able to get in on some amazing scalp and swing trades. Trading is really good right now. It was rough for a couple weeks for a few people after the first 2 weeks of May, but right now, man, I'm doing great. And
so you're feeling good about the.
Everyone should be too.
So you're feeling good about the, and you're gonna have to switch back to your camera, by the way.
I hit stop sharing on that. What did I do here?
You're sharing your.
You're showing
screen.
our back end. Everyone sees our backside now.
I hope they enjoy it.
I hit stop screen sharing. Is
no,
it
you're good.
now?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
So just on the immediate short term, so you're saying it's shaping up. It looks promising from your opinion, basically right now. The next couple weeks, or you're saying the next couple days. Well,
promising in that whether it's going to go up or down in between, it's promising in that I'm confident right now in my trades, in the shorts and the longs. In fact, I've had my 2 best trades and they were already shorts, and now I'm longing right now. I'm in a long right now, but it was nice to taste that short money. There's magic with shorts. Somehow, I mean, it goes down really. You get your money 5x and 5x faster. You make 5 times as much, 5 times faster if you're able to get it. So, I'm rooting for everyone, and just
give us some hopium, CryptoFace.
Your gut feels good right now.
Man. There is hopium. Listen, if there's a good signal on the short, there's good confidence in a lot of indicators on a lot of small time frames, from the 15, the 30, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the whatever. So everyone should be like, anyone that's supposed to know what they're talking about in trading and supposed to be a successful trader for the next at least week and a half. And that's being really nice. It could be even longer, but for at least the next week and a half, if everyone ain't getting it and getting it right, unsubscribe from that.
There you go. Well, I'm going to shift from the short term to the long term. I know Altcoin Daily, you guys, like you said, you focused on the fundamentals and more of like a zoom out approach. I know you guys are big fans of both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm curious to hear, which one do you guys get asked about the most, and what do you tell what are you most bullish on over the next, say, 6 to 9 months?
Great question. And I would say that, we get asked way more about Ethereum. Like, Ethereum videos do way better than Bitcoin videos. Mm-hmm. And whether or not, I don't think that necessarily means people like Ethereum more. I just think in my mind that in a lot of ways, Bitcoin has been accepted. It is, it's got the green light from regulators. It's sort of a sure thing. And that's good, but it's also sort of boring in a way that people know, okay, it's going to be around at least 5, 10 years, not way longer. With Ethereum, that's the big question. How is that value prop different? What's better, Ethereum or Cardano? And you can go down the line further. I would say that Ethereum in 2021 could absolutely flip Bitcoin. Number one, it's a bull market. Altcoins tend to do better in a bull market. But number two, if you want to go through NFTs, if you want to get on DeFi, you have to go through Ethereum. And I thought it was really interesting, something that Kathy Wood said a couple months ago of ARK Invest. And whether you like her or you don't, she does sort of have that institutional perspective that in her mind, it's the protocols that are going to get value, as opposed to what we saw in the internet in 1999, 2000. The internet was built, and then the companies on top of the internet, they're the ones that made all the money. It's a lot different now. You can invest in the internet protocol or those base layers, which is the Ethereums, the Polkadots, the Cardanos. And from an institutional perspective, I still think everybody wants Bitcoin right now. But the question is there, these have different use cases. What's the potential?
Yeah, great analysis there. And everybody is wondering kind of what's next. I think we get asked that a lot. What's the next Bitcoin? I think a couple of people even alluded to it there, that people maybe think they've missed the boat, whether it's true or not. Like that's just how people feel. They feel like, oh, Bitcoin blew up. I missed my opportunity there. What's the next Bitcoin? What's the next opportunity? So I want to ask Wendy, I know you help a lot of people that are new to the space and are learning, and they're really looking to change their lives. They're not big money investors looking to hedge an asset and protect themselves from inflation. They're just regular everyday people. So when those people, when you're talking to them and they're asking like, and they feel like maybe they have missed Bitcoin, they say, what's the next Bitcoin? What advice do you usually give people like that?
I don't think there is going to be a next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very different than Ethereum. It's very than altcoins. It serves a different type of purpose. When we're talking about Bitcoin, when I think of it not necessarily, you can use the term financial freedom, but you can also use the term a hedge against the United States dollar or some of these other currencies. Absolutely. So I think it's a good way to kind of hedge. Like I remember growing up, my aunt used to give us like $10 savings bonds. That was part of like the birthday gift, which is awesome. But people are no longer doing that. I took my daughter's fiat out of her savings account and I bought her Bitcoin when Bitcoin was trading under like $10,000. I scaled all the way down to about even Bitcoin more than the US dollar. Another thing is that Ethereum, like Austin said, has a completely different, unique ecosystem. But the problem with Ethereum, and the reason why I can't vouch for Ethereum long term, is because it's not really usable for the person. I used to make $500 a week. That was my home, $500 a week. I had my money budgeted very, very I cannot afford. Then I wouldn't have been able to afford an extra $20 to transfer Ethereum to my crypto.com card or whatever card that I'm using to buy groceries. That would have been $20 that I would have had to taken out. And even when we're utilizing like Ethereum fees or different things, there's a lot of problems with the cost. It's not really affordable when it comes to that. So me personally, one of the things I suggest to people, if you're in crypto and you're trading and investing, you pull out your initial investment, you pull out your profit, start stacking stable coins, use platforms that give you good interest back, and start, you'll be able to accumulate and kind of roll it over into that aspect. But as far as kind of picking favorites here, I don't like to pick favorites. Each altcoin that I've invested in, they do different things and they have different purposes. I like Matic because it's a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. I like Ethereum because their ecosystem is absolutely amazing, but I also understand the faults. Like to send back and forth is still kind of a hassle. I like stable coins for that. So kind of in closing, each one has its own unique thing that it does, but I don't think we should be picking favorites. I think we should kind of look into diversifying and kind of improve each and individual person's quality of life and help them improve their family's quality of life.
Yeah, that's a great take. And you mentioned, you touched on there some of the fees involved with swapping things back and forth. Ben, this is a question I wanted to ask you. We've been experiencing in a lot of the major U.S. exchanges that have been given the regulatory okay from the powers that be here in the United States. They tend to force you to move. They won't let you swap straight from Bitcoin to Ethereum or straight from Ethereum to OneCoin. They tend to want you to move into the dollar or USD stablecoin backed equivalent, like especially Binance US, Gemini's the same way. They want you to trade your Bitcoin to dollars into Ethereum. They won't let you do direct swaps. So do you think this is the United States trying to keep the dollar viable as people look for alternatives? Ben?
Well, that's a good question. I think it just has to do with the regulatory requirements, and it's probably easier for these places like Binance US. They're trying to skirt this line, get that approved. Whereas with Coinbase, I don't know if it has to do with how they make the trades on the back end, maybe, but they've proven you can actually have those trades like Bitcoin to Ethereum directly. I'm sure it has to do with more of the process of how it's actually done. I don't think it has anything to do with I think it's just the red tape and the bureaucracy of America and regulation is probably what it is. That's the stifling factor. That's, they've been stifling innovation for a long time now in blockchain. I don't think it's a common sense or a concerted effort. I mean, I don't know if the United States actually thinks there's a problem with the dollar. I think that's the disconnect. They just keep printing the money and nobody seems to care. And there's no thought of like, oh, we got to make sure we stay on top of this. If there was, we would already be competing with China. We would have more hash rate here. We would already have a digital dollar out. Like, we would already be doing more things. So I think it just simply has to do with the, with the bureaucracy and the red tape when it comes to getting these things approved.
There you go. And then CryptoFace, we had one more question here in the chat. You've been on record saying that you thought we were in a confirmed bear market right now. Do you still feel that way?
So there's everyone's, what I said and what I've been saying is everyone's definition of what a bear and a bull market or a bear and a bull trend is different. And, not to really concern yourself with it. I had a couple live streams, actually my 2 best trades ever in the past 2-3 weeks. My best shorts where it was, boom, bull market over or bull trend over. And so, there's if you zoom out of Bitcoin, if you take a look at Bitcoin on the 2-week or the monthly, we've never been in a bear market. We've been in a bull market since day one of Bitcoin. And so, there's I think people shouldn't really waste so much energy. Like, let's say if that guy really did get his answer, like, okay, we're in a bear market. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? What, what's that going to do for you, right? So I try not to, as a successful trader, right? And others around me too, like try not to waste too much energy on thinking about that stuff. A trend is a different thing. Are we still in a bull trend? I have to say, or excuse me, a bear trend with Bitcoin. I have to say yes, because the daily, we just formed a lower low as far as money being in the asset pair being traded. And so until I see that puppy start coming back up and start seeing some higher highs on the money flows, on the 12-hour, at the 6-hour, we have the first chance of maybe, but like not anywhere near confirmed. And so I would say we're in a bear trend.
There you go. Well, and you that was a really good answer there. You made a really good point that it's all relative. You got to keep time in mind and like bear or bull on what time frame. And like you said, if you just keep zooming out, we talk about all the time, anybody who's held for over 4 years, it usually works out well. So like we say it all the time, when in doubt, zoom out. And it's great to hold assets when time is on your side. And we really feel like with Bitcoin and with crypto assets, it puts you in a position where time is working with you instead of against you, which is what you experience with most fiat currencies. But that's all we have time for today. It looks like we've got CryptoFace with the most points. So wow. I don't know if that means you just talked the most or you brought the most knowledge, but you've got 30 seconds to. Man. No, I'm just messing with you. You did. You made a lot of really good points today. A lot of really good comments in the chat. So you got 30 seconds. You are the winner. Tell the audience what you think they need to hear before we part today.
Man, just keep it simple and try not to get lost in the sauce, and don't worry too much about like just specifics and news and stupid stuff. Just keep it simple, man. Don't just keep it simple. And thanks for having me on, dude. I've really enjoyed this show. Yeah. I really don't watch a lot of crypto stuff, to be honest, but I really enjoy this show, and there's been some really good episodes. And so thanks for having me on. Yeah, man, just don't be stupid and don't over leverage, and just be safe, and don't do anything you're not confident of. Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
No, it was really fun having you on. We really enjoyed it today. We'll have to have you back in the future. As always, we really appreciate all the guests that join us. The links are in the description below. Also, somebody was asking about needing these indicators. The indicators that he was looking at is called Market Cipher. He actually created it. The link to that is in the description as well. So, as always, please drop us a like and a subscribe. Let us know what questions and guests you'd like to see in the future in the comments. That's all we got time for today. We're out.